to the Dawgs podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs podcast. Josh All, your host today, and I've got Kenny Mack on the episode today with me, and we are bringing you guys Mock Draft 6.0, and it's going to be a little bit different than what we've been doing. So far, all the mock drafts, I've kind of gone through mock draft database and just picked players within the range around the Browns picks that I feel like are logical picks for the Browns based on their, tendencies in the past, Andrew Berry's, kind of track record. Not so much my preferences or what I want, although I do interject that a little bit. But today, Kenny Mack is going to break down his mock draft with a little trade back scenario. And this is going to be more of what Kenny thinks would really help the Browns rebuild the offense, get back to the identity that the Browns had a few years ago when it was, running game and defense and that kind of stuff, because we have definitely gotten away from that. The offense is terrible, and Kenny is here to fix it. So make sure you guys follow along in the comments. Let us know what you think as we go through this mock. Really, I'm just going to sit back here and let Kenny go through his scenario and the way that he would go and fix this team, and then I'll just discuss it with him as he goes through that. Before we do, though, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe on YouTube, and tap that notification bell. We have got our NFL live draft show coming up 2 weeks from today. Kenny's going to be in town, in the new studio, by the way, which I spent pretty much all day yesterday up there working on that, building the set, getting things ready to go. So, Kenny, it's about ready, man. We're going to be doing a show out of there next week, actually. As kind of a prep.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So make sure you guys don't miss that. And then if you guys want to dive into the Dog Pack community, where we're in the Discord talking all the time, talking about these draft picks, these prospects, scenarios for the Browns, what they could do. I mean, we get a lot of ideas from the show and input from everybody in that community. It's jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. So, Kenny, there's some news and notes with the Browns this week that I think we could dive into, but the layout for your mock draft, I feel like we can interject some of that as we go. So I'm just going to kick back, let you kick it all off for your mock draft, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, the main thing is I think some of our viewers and maybe Browns fans in general, I think you're getting a little bit tired of maybe hearing about Shedeur and Hunter and all these guys that we might likely draft. But let's take a look at like the 2020 Browns and give you a little bit different perspective. We kind of touched base on it a little bit last week where we were saying, well, what's the chicken? What's the egg? And we'll get into that. But if you think about 2020, it was a dominant like Chubb I can't even say it. Chubb Hunt duo. I'll say it nice and slow.
There you go.
We had hard-nosed blocking tight ends and tough, reliable receivers. We've lost Jarvis and a couple of guys. And I think what we have to look at is we have to look at what do the Browns want in a prospect. Number one is toughness, right? I don't think the guys were very tough last year. And I'm not saying they're not tough at all. I'm not saying they're soft. I just think we lacked a little bit of toughness mentally and physically last year. You got to love football and be able to grind. You got to have passion for the game, because those are two things that we've heard a lot about in pressers. Again, ABS, always be studying. And again, I'm going to say it, you got to love football and be able to grind. Processing speed. How many times have you heard that one, Josh?
All the time, man.
And you don't need it just for quarterbacks.
Right.
Everybody's got a process. They have to account for their mistakes and make the proper adjustments. The other thing is, I think you've heard this one, and this is my last one, versatility.
Yeah. When you say processing, I think a lot of people, maybe we can also call that football IQ, because processing does get kind of attributed to the quarterback a lot more than other positions, but it's just overall football IQ. Are you a student of the game? Kenny mentioned that. How much work are you willing to put in? How much do you understand the game of football? Because yes, you could have all the athletic traits in the world. You could have had, great season in college and everything, but do you understand the game of football? Because at the NFL level, it's faster and there's so much less time to adjust to anything that's going on. So you have got to have a solid, firm, foundational understanding of the game.
Yeah. And again, like a couple episodes ago, I was watching Justin. He was freaking out about how bad it was to watch this offense. And, just in a nutshell, like the 15.2 points, I can't watch that again. We were 28th in overall offense. The passing was 22nd, which was okay. But I mean, we must have got most of that in garbage time. And here's the biggest thing, and this is what's going to lead me to my draft: 94.6 yards rushing per game. If we even had that at the 118 of the previous year, how much better would our third down efficiency be? It's only 29.54%. And how much more offense would we get even if we were just at like 35% third down efficiency, right?
Yeah.
And then again, 2 years in a row, turnover margin, complete garbage, 32nd this year, right?
Yeah, it was so hard to watch.
So, I mean, the biggest thing is I don't feel the confidence of the comments that come through the Dawgs podcast that people are confident in this quarterback class, except for maybe Cam Ward. Other than that, it's kind of a crapshoot, right? So what if the Browns kept Kenny Pickett, drafted a little bit lower, right? Let's take a look at the rest of the way the offense is. Let's see what the depth is. Like running back, for example, like, are you not scared about the depth in that? Because I don't even know if we have a starter. After that, it's receiver, Jerry Jeudy. He's a Pro Bowler, but you got Ced Till is showing flashes, and the rest of the guys are kind of unknowns. Tight end, David Njoku, when he goes down, we're all shaking our knees. And then O-line, it's going to be super decent, and I'm hoping that's going to turn back to where it was from 2020 to 23. I know it was on a bit of a decline, but we got a new coach and maybe it's going to reinvigorate the guys. But there is a gaping hole at left tackle, and that's something that super needs to be addressed. And I think one thing is when we're looking for prospects, do we really understand what Stefanski and Tommy Rees are going to do? Based on what I feel like they're going to do, it's going to be a blend of Stefanski's Shanahan-influenced, run-heavy West Coast that meets Tommy Rees's multiple pro-style concept. So it's going to be with a traditional drop-back passer, but you got to have a little bit of wiggle. You got to have some escapability for that, and you got to be very efficient. So here's what the core identity is going to look like. Heavy play action, multiple personnel usage. So 12, that's a running back and 2 tight ends. That's generally what he likes. So guys, like when I say tight end and we have David Njoku, we've got a bunch of unknowns after that. If you're going to make this offense work, you're going to need running backs and tight ends, and maybe even a guy that can go do both, right?
Yeah. And
fullback is what I mean.
Yeah. And tight end is that's some news that I did want to just interject real quick, because the Browns have been meeting with kind of the bulk of what do I want to say? Not the top end tight ends. So not the Tyler Warrens, not the Colston Lovelands. Those are 2 tight ends that are probably going high first round. That's kind of out of the Browns' wheelhouse for a tight end, but they're meeting with that second tier. They've met with Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green. They just met with Terrence Ferguson, I think today, from Oregon, and they met with Mason Taylor from LSU. So those are kind of like that next tier. Oh, and Elijah Arroyo, from Miami. So 4 other guys there at tight end. So watch for the Browns in that probably third round. I would say they're going to be coming after one of those top tight ends in this class, because it is a good class for tight end.
Yeah, and to get into the running game, you need the tight ends and the fullback usage. You're gonna expect motion shifts to disguise plays and create favorable matchups. And remember that I said that the Tommy Rees influence is going to be the gap and dual elements for the running game, and then you're going to have Stefanski, what we're used to, the outside zone. Passing game will be, like we said, play action bootlegs, which is Stefanski. Quick game efficiency, that's Rees. So you're going to look more quick game concepts, hitches, slants, RPOs, something that we haven't done too much of. And then last but not least, vertical play action shots. This is kind of where I'm like, Kenny Pickett, but we'll get into it, right? The biggest thing is what's your quarterback fit going to be? It's going to be someone like Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe even Mac Jones is what I've been suggested or what I've been reading. I think Kenny Pickett is in there. Player comparisons. Well, we know Nick Chubb. He was awesome in that system. We need somebody similar to that. As far as tight ends are concerned, I'm going to address that, but David Njoku fits it great. He can bust up the seam. He can block. He's awesome. We need good route runners. So Amari Cooper, Chris Olave. So final takeaways about that. It's a hybrid, or the Stefanski-Reese offense is a hybrid, resemble a balanced, play action heavy, structured pro style offense. So we need a strong run game. We need a multiple tight end look. So we need multiple tight ends, and it's got to be efficient, but not necessarily explosive. And that's super important. And the reason why I'm getting into that is because people play a too high bubble zone defense. And how you beat it, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. And that's exactly what this is saying. So does Kenny Pickett fit this? He does, because he can operate the play action in the bootlegs. He's quick. He's got the quick game efficiency. This is something that he may have to work on, though. And but they're going to take a chance on him. He is comfortable under center. He's got toughness and poise. And the reason why I say that is the guy's got 7 fourth quarter victories come from behind. He's 15-10 as a starter. So they're going to gamble on this. Where he's going to fall short is arm strength. Like I said, processing speed. He's going to have to bring that up a bit. He's got a little bit of lack of high-end accuracy. So overall, he's going to be a good fit for a run-heavy play-action quarterback-friendly system. And so this is why I'm not going to go with a quarterback super early. I'm going to build around that. And I mentioned earlier, Josh and I did something about 4 days ago. I was talking about Dane Brugler. He does say if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. However, comes to the chicken and the egg. What do? Do you build the offense first, or do you get your quarterback first? From my perspective and everything that's happening right now, as far as mock drafts are concerned, it's just overload about the quarterback position. So let's step back and say, let's say Kenny Pickett is going to be the quarterback. Let's say Kirk Cousins, we're going to trade for him. It's going to be somebody that's not a quarterback in this draft right now. So we're going to build, or the egg's going to come first in this case. And we want to get back to that old school type of offense that we had. He's also, I don't know if we mentioned this earlier. I guess we mentioned this when we were talking. He's very similar to Jacoby Brissett. And they're basically about the same height, the same weight. And overall, with Brissett, he's a guy that, I guess I'll go dial it back. Are they the same? Yes. Both are smart, conservative passers who can manage an offense and keep things on schedule. They're trusted by coaches not to lose the game. That's why we invested in Myles Garrett. They are ideal number 2 quarterbacks, but they are capable of starting for a short period of time. So are we going to get into something? Maybe, we'll see. But if we trusted the offense to Jacoby Brissett, I think we can trust the offense to Kenny Pickett for a bit until we form the identity that we want to see from Stefanski and Reese. Because all I am is I'm kind of trying to figure out what kind of offense based on how they both run it, because we don't really know. There are some slight differences. Pickett is a little bit more dynamic, and I think what that means is we're going to see a little bit more RPOs, a little bit more pistol formation. So overall, Kenny Pickett, he's basically a younger version of Jacoby Brissett with more twitch, slightly better mobility. He's got less raw arm strength, though, and experience. So he does bring in that winning record. So we'll see what he can do, because over the last 25 games, if we went 15-10, would you be all right with that?
The way our seasons have been going, I guess so.
Yeah. So the biggest priority that I think we need to make the offense go right now is running back. It's a great year for running back, but if you want to make your offense go and you have a quarterback that needs a heavy run to make the offense go, then basically get the best guy, get Ashton Jeanty. There's a couple more needs that we need, and there's a real sneaky one that I don't know if you guys have looked at the roster, because we've been talking offense. I haven't seen it. Josh and I were talking about it earlier today. We've seen any safeties come in, because we don't really have a free safety. The other big gaping hole that I just mentioned, it's offensive tackle, specifically left tackle. Yes, we do have DeJuan Jones. he hasn't made it through a full year yet. So it's a little bit worrisome. Receiver, I like Jerry Jeudy. I like what he did last year. We've said it many times on this program. He's got to prove it over again. After him, though, it seems to be a lot of unknowns. Michael Woods looked good for a little bit last year. Even David Bell looked a little bit good before he got injured. They're doing the right things. Tight end, we don't have a lot of room again. We don't have anybody in the room. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Whiteheart, Bates, McKitty. Does that all strike fear in your heart?
Practice
No,
practice squad. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you got? What do you think about that? Like, what do you think about the egg coming before the chicken?
So obviously, if you guys have watched the show, you know that I don't share very high optimism for Kenny Pickett, but I do understand what Kenny's saying as far as being a game manager. And I got to give credit to Kevin Stefanski. He has gotten the most out of every single quarterback he's ever had, except for Deshaun Watson. And I think it's just because Deshaun didn't want Kevin to get the most out of him. Deshaun thought he could do things his way. It didn't work. But every other quarterback who's come in here and been willing to be coached and to understand and learn the system and execute the system has had like their career season or time playing quarterback as a starter for the Browns. So, you know, if Kevin can go out there and win games with PJ Walker and DTR, then yes, I think we can win games with Kenny Pickett. As much as I don't want to have to. I really don't want to have to, but I think we can. I agree with you there.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because, again, this isn't an episode about me wanting Kenny Pickett to start. Right. What it's an episode about is reinforcing the foundation because I don't know about you guys, and throw it in the comments. What were we doing last year? Where are we going? You know, like those are all the things. That's why it's such a crapshoot where everybody's like, we should draft this guy. We should draft this guy because we don't really have an identity. So we just don't want to plug holes. We want to build that identity and get guys that contribute right away. So we got to get our receivers. We got to get tight ends, but we've got to get running backs that make this go because we were the worst third down team. And wouldn't it be nice if we don't go off sides to be starting the game, drive at 2nd and 6 instead of 2nd and 10, you know, and that's what I'm looking at. So I haven't heard many people talk about him, but Ashton Jeanty is the real deal. This dude's 5'9" and he's 110 pounds. And in my mind, I think of Barry Sanders when I hear this. He's more, I think, like Nick Chubb. He's obviously one of the top 2 in the draft. And I think he's better than Omarion Hampton, but that's to be debated. He has elite pass catching skills and a high rate for breaking tackles. Is Jamal Charles with better hands, basically, and slightly a bit bigger. So why do I want to do that? Because I don't know what's going to happen with Nick Chubb. Obviously, I'd like to see him on the team, but he's not really part of the team anymore. Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong Jr., they're super serviceable, but none of them are running back one material. Kevin Stefanski's offense and what he's going to do with Tommy Rees is built around zone blocking, play action, and screens. If you can't do those 3 like we last year, we couldn't sell the run, so we couldn't play action, we couldn't run out the zone, and we couldn't set up screens. So we had nothing. That's why we had such a pitiful performance.
Hey, Browns fans, we just want to remind you guys, go check out the Living for We podcast. Living for We, keep your head up, addresses the troubles of gun violence and offers solutions for those who want to better their community. You'll hear from Amir and Drew, 2 black men who picked up a gun as kids because they felt they had no other choice. Andre Taylor, a community leader stepping into schools to break the cycle. Walter Patton, founder of Ghetto Therapy, bringing mental health support straight into the neighborhood. These are real stories, real struggles, and real solutions. Living for We is an award-winning podcast from Idea Stream Public Media, part of the Connecting the Dots Between Race and Health initiative. This season, host Maureen Harris-Taylor and her new co-host Maisha Watkins, executive director of the Cleveland Peacemakers, bring you stories from the front lines, victims, survivors, and those fighting for change. New episodes drop every Tuesday, and they started last month on February 11th. Listen to Living for We wherever you get your podcast or watch the video version on IdeaStream's YouTube channel. Learn more at ideastream.com/podcast/living-for-we.
So the biggest thing you got to be asking yourself, Andrew Berry doesn't draft running backs high. Well, it's time to break the mold. You got to do something different because you know what, Andrew Berry, if you don't do something different, you're not going to be around too much longer. And I know there doesn't seem to be like there's much emphasis on this year. And the way that I'm doing it means that you would probably have another year because you're building with the egg before the chicken. But we have to do it because we got to make this offense go. And I think a great running back would do that. So what I want to do, though, is I'm not going to draft him with a second pick overall. I think I can get some capital back. And what I want to do is I want to trade down and I want to trade with the Raiders. So, you know what? I got a little bit ahead of myself. One thing that I do want to discuss, why it's important for Ashton Jeanty. So the things that we couldn't do well, number one, explosive plays. So plays over 20 yards. I think the Browns that would be a big help to the offense. Before Jeanty, we ranked, I'll take a look at the 2023 stats because who wants to talk about 2024? It's boring, right? And we don't want to hear that anymore. But I mean, with that being said, we were middle of the pack with explosive plays. Man, I think this guy last year, he had 15 runs of like 20 yards. And I know it's not against NFL defenses, but against with an offensive line, I think that's something that's super doable. So you could expect maybe 25% increase in the explosive plays. More explosive plays, closer to the end zone, red zone, more points, either field goals or touchdowns. The other thing is, we mentioned it before, it's insurance for a rookie quarterback if we do have one. And we would have to get one late if we take Jeanty high. Stefanski's system thrives when the run game supports the quarterback. The other thing with like the insurance part of it, he caught 43 passes. Those were all probably dump offs, but do you want to dump it off to Jeanty or do you want to dump it off to Pierre Strong? I think you're going to have better luck with Jeanty. Overall, if you do have something, for some reason, Milroe drops and we pick him after, I mean, it keeps defenses honest at a high 2 looks, which we mentioned earlier, gives you the chance to have RPOs, quick screens. You can motion out, create mismatches. The other thing is you have versatility inside and outside with him. So you can actually probably have anywhere from 4.1 to 4.5 on your early downs, which is something that we wanted to do last year and it never came to fruition. Then you can have diversity in your formation and your personnel. So with Jeanty, the Browns can run 21 personnel, 11 personnel, pistol formations, all different looks from last year. So I'll help you to score points. You can truly be adds dual threat capability because of his versatility with catching the pass. He's an insurance and a succession plan for what's happened in the past. Again, we don't know what's going to happen with Nick Chubb, and we don't know really where it's going to go with the current depth that we have overall. So I'm sold on this guy. I wish we can have him. And the next thing to do is get some of our value back. So I want to trade down. I don't think, Josh, you haven't done a trade down scenario?
Nope, I have not. I haven't done one yet.
Okay. So, and then what did you think? What do you think about having that running back feature as far as getting the offense going? Because it's really the key that starts this offense.
Well, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I will say that it's definitely not going to happen in the real world because, like you said, to start this, Andrew Berry will never draft a running back, probably in the first round, let alone in the top 10. But for your scenario here, I like the way you're trying to build this thing because, and then you can talk about the draft capital here in a minute because you say you're trading down to 6 with the Raiders. You can talk about what you're projecting to get back and all that kind of stuff. But I just think about this fan base and how much more excited we would be going into the season if we had Ashton Jeanty and we re-signed Nick Chubb. Could you imagine just the hype? We would all feel so much better, I think, and drop it in the comments if you agree or disagree. But if you knew that the backfield was going to be Jeanty and Chubb, I mean, that just sounds like fun to me. And you're right, that would get back to that tough, run it down your throat type of offense that we're missing.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, man. You hit the nail on the head. It is going to be fun. I think if you go back to the 80s when we had Biner, and Mack, and then you had Hunt and you had Chubb. Just Cleveland people love that, and that would get us back to it. But I'm not drafting Jeanty at 2.
No.
I'm going to trade down with the Raiders. The Raiders want to trade up, and they want to either get Hunter or Shador. I'm not sure, but they're going to trade up with us. We're going to get pick number 6. We're going to get pick number 37 this year. We're getting we're getting a second rounder next year, and we're getting Michael Mayer, and they will receive our second round pick. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I went to Jimmy Johnson's common draft trade value model. Okay. So pick 6 is worth 1,600 points. Pick 37 is worth 530 points. Next year pick is only worth about 300 points. And then Mayer's value as a former second round pick is actually worth more, which I'm surprised, at about 400 points. So what you're looking at is the Raiders slightly overpaying because the value for our pick is 2,600 points, and they are giving us about 2,800 in return. So it's a premium, I guess, to get into the second pick overall. So the overpay, if it's worth it to them, it's worth it to us to get that back. We get Michael Mayer. He's a super physical tight end. I'm going over a lot of his stats from when he was at Notre Dame. He was with Tommy Rees at Notre Dame, had a very high football IQ, was known for very savvy option routes in the end zone. It's versatile, so you can flex him out, can play the H-back role. He does not have elite speed, but he has reliable hands and technique, so he can get open. He is a scheme fit. He would be a great backup for David Njoku, and he can even be on special teams, punt protection, and even coverage. So he's got solid value there as well. He is a strong long-term fit. You also would get the 5th-year option with him because he was a first-round pick.
No, he wasn't. He was
not a first round.
He was a second round pick.
Oh, that's right. He was not. He's not a first-round pick. So you still get the value of him being on the rookie contract. And so that would be 2 guys for the offense to help build something similar to the 2022 team or 2020 team. Now, I wanted to go with Greg Zabel and the next one for pick 33. Josh has done a fantastic job outlining of what that guy can do. So what I did is I went back. I'm going to help our guy out, Jim Schwartz. I don't want to leave him out hanging high and dry with his free safety position. So I'm going with Xavier Watts, a standout from Notre Dame. So I got another Notre Dame guy. This guy garnered a lot of attention for his exceptional playmaking abilities. And I think he can add that to Jim Schwartz's defensive system. Because if you take a look, like we said, we do not have a free safety. This guy's a ball hawk. So over the past 2 seasons, this guy had 13 interceptions. I don't know about you. Put my hand up right now. I'll take that with the Browns if we can get 13 interceptions. That would be fantastic in the next 2 years. Football intelligence and instincts. Man, he demonstrates a high IQ just with the anticipation of getting these interceptions. But that allows him to be consistently positioned well. So that's why he's making these turnovers. He is versatile. He can play in the box, and he can be a deep free safety. We don't need a box safety. We need a free safety, and I think he is a guy that can do it. Physicality and tackling, he is known for aggressive play style. Watts is a willing tackler, and he contributes effectively in run support. That's something we need. He can, and Jim Schwartz's defense, so he's an aggressive guy. He reduces the need for excessive blitzing and can allow the secondary to focus on coverage because of his free safety skills. This approach requires a safety that's versatile, instinctive, and capable of both supporting and excelling in coverage. So Watts is the ball hawking guy that you need. Furthermore, his versatility allows him to adapt to various roles, as we mentioned. In summary, he'd be a great combination of playmaking ability, intelligence, and versatility, and would be a great candidate for Jim Schwartz's defense. What do you say?
It's interesting because, we've been very adamant that no defensive players would like the first 4 picks. We got to go offense. But here in your scenario with the trade back to 6, you didn't just accumulate picks. You also got 2 offensive players essentially in that move, you landed Ashton Jeanty, the running back, and then you got the tight end, Michael Mayer. So you addressed two glaring needs that the Browns have. Defensively, you're right. The free safety position is big time. I mean, they like Ronnie Hickman. I like Ronnie Hickman. He has done very well, but we're thin there. I mean, it doesn't mean we cannot upgrade. And I think that this would be a nice pick, Xavier Watts. Real quick, going back to the running back conversation, I totally meant to throw this in there. The Browns have now met with Quinshon Judkins. They have met with Cam Skattebo, however you say it.
Nice.
And they've met with Bechel Tootle. Yeah, from...
where's he from again?
Virginia Tech.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So
he'd be like a little scat back dude, right?
Yeah, he's like 5'9", 206, 207, something like that. Yeah, so sorry. Bechel Tootle. I always get it mixed up on his last name. But those, I mean, just based on the NFL draft profiles, Quinshon Judkins is the number 5 running back. Tootin is the number 6. And then Skattebo is what, 7, 8, 9, the 10th. So the Browns are going to address this in the draft. So it may not be Ashton Jeanty like Kenny would propose here, but they are going to address running back. Thankfully, we're going to get somebody to come in here and hopefully give us some identity back in that backfield.
Yeah, man. Either one of those backs, I've looked at their profiles. They'd all be great backs for Stefanski's and Reese's offense.
Yeah.
The next guy I'm going to go, so this is pick 37. This is from the Raiders. I'm going to go back to the offense, and this guy's going to fit in with Tommy Rees and Kevin Stefanski. And it's Jack. Do you pronounce the H on this? Is it Jack Bech?
Oh, Jack Bech.
Jack Bech. So he's a receiver for TCU. One of the reasons I like him, this guy was a tight end. So he's going to be a blocker. And you know what we miss, guys? We miss Jarvis Landry's just awesome blocks, like his almost fatal blocks, right? And before transferring to TCU, that's what he was. He was a tight end. He embraces contested catches situations. He boxes out defenders like he's going for a rebound with his frame, and he plays a gritty edge on both the run and the pass game. He thrives in short area routes like slants, stick concepts, and route options. Does that sound kind of familiar? That's what we were talking about, and that's why I went in and talked to you about what Tommy Rees is looking for. Processing, I mean, his background, like we said, it was a tight end, and he can quickly read leverage, adjust mid-route. He's savvy underneath. He's a zone beater. He sits down in the right spots, and in play action concepts as well. He's great for Stefanski's layered play action concept, and he meshes well with Reese's option heavy passing designs. He's smart, coachable, he's mentally tough, and he shows good awareness. Versatility, I mean, this is something that this is amazing because he used to be a tight end, right? So he's got true positional flexibility, can line up in the big slot, H-back, even wide out, like as a Z possession receiver. The versatility opens up tons of flexibility for the Browns. And this is something that would really help them disguise what offense they want to be in. And you can take advantage of the defense then. Schematic fit, man, the Cleveland value size, toughness, and versatility in the receiver room, especially in receiver 3 and 4. I just think they need a bigger receiver, regardless of where it is. I like Judy. I like all the Tillman's a big guy, but Thrash isn't, So let's throw some guys in there. Maybe get a Elijah Moore back. Maybe even get Amari Cooper back. Who knows? He's a big dude. He's built for special teams as well. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I'm seeing if guys fit in special teams. We want Bubba Vitrone to get some guys too. He's a high effort guy, lots of hustle. He can contribute in the kickoff, punt shield, and potentially he could be a core special teamer. So he'd be a fantastic guy for the Browns, and he checks all the boxes. So big physical guy, 6'2", 220 pounds. He's built more like a tight end. That gives him a distinct mismatch advantage against nickel corners and smaller slot defenders. Let's get this guy running some slot routes and getting some first downs, because I did not see enough last year. But this guy is a grinder mentally and physically.
For sure. One note on sizing. I see a lot of people say Travis Hunter is too small for the NFL. He's literally the same size as Jerry Jeudy minus like 5 pounds. He's basically the same exact build and size and whatever. Jack Bech, I like. I do like Jack Bech. He was a stud at the Senior Bowl this year. Really stood out. He was the Senior Bowl MVP or All-Star, whatever the name is there, the award they hand out. But going back to what you're saying, right. At LSU in 2021, when he was a tight end, his first year. So this kid comes, he's a freshman, I believe it was his freshman year. He's a tight end in college football, not known for being, high in receptions, high in yards anyway at the tight end position in college. Jack Bech had 43 receptions for 489 yards as a freshman. He led the entire LSU squad in receptions, and that team had names like Kayshon Boutte, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, Trey Palmer, and who was the leading receiver in terms of receptions? It was Jack Bech, and he was just third on the team, barely in receiving yards total for that season. So, yeah, he proved at an early age that he can do some stuff on the football field.
Yeah, I mean, to get him at 37 with this uncommon skill set, I mean, he's a hybrid tight end receiver, and he's great for jumbo packages, red zone schemes, the jump ball, reliable slot possession receiver, and heavy personnel groups. And this is exactly what the Browns are looking for. I think he's a must-have for the Browns.
I don't hate it, man. I really don't. I'm just trying to look on Mock Draft Database to see where they've got him projected to go. They've actually got him projected at 66 right now. But I do think he probably goes higher than that.
Yeah, I think for high-end receivers, it's going to be tough for them to actually, where they're projected, they're going to go up a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And so that's why I did stretch on that one a little bit. And but next is pick 67, I believe. I actually lost the number, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we're into the next round, next guy, and we have a gaping hole at the left tackle position. This guy may be just a swing tackle at this point, but I'm going to go for Aireontae Ersery. And that guy, his profile, man, his RAS, 9.89 out of 10. That ranks 16th all-time among 1,379 offensive tackles tested since 1987. This guy's 6'6", 331 pounds. I want some grinders on that line, and that is a big man. He, with all that weight and all that height, he runs a 5 flat. I think that's the best I could ever do in high school. And his vertical jump is 29.5, better than me in high school. And his broad jump and three cone drill actually all better than me in high school, but his 3-cone drill is sub 7.5, which is excellent for his size, and which is why he's so highly rated on his RAS score. These are elite measurables that you're not going to find with a lot of defense or offensive tackles. Like I said, this guy's super tough. He is a physical tone setter. At Minnesota, he anchored the Big Ten run heavy offense and thrived I can't even say it. Trench warfare is what I want to say. He regularly finishes blocks with authority. That is one of the biggest things that I want to hear about an offensive tackle. Listen to this. His mentality to bury defenders. Man, sounds amazing. Doesn't shy away from physicality. Let's get this guy right now. I'm getting excited just reading about this. His versatility. So he played left tackle in college. With his athleticism, though, he could swing to right. I would see him as a left tackle. That's where I want him. That's where I would draft him for. Processing and awareness. So, Ersery processes, stunts, twists, edge bliss as well. Something critical in Stefanski's play action heavy system. His defenses, or where defenses throw complex post snap looks, he doesn't panic. He doesn't panic under pressure. And he remains calm. So those are all good qualities. Motion and scheme fit. The Browns, we run the wide zone play action. He moves laterally with control. He can reach the 3 technique or the linebackers. He can redirect and adjust in mid-play and space. He excels in motion and flow-based schemes. So he is a great fit for our offense. Passion for the game, work ethic, consistency, and leadership is what he's known for. He was awarded team captain honors praised by coaches and teammates for motor and accountability. That's something I felt like we didn't have last year. 2 critical elements for the Browns locker room. He's a no-nonsense lunch pail player. Again, I just loved what I read about this guy. So, ideal for the guy. Elite athleticism, power, nastiness, smart, experienced, high floor pass protector. That's what we need on this team, especially with DeJuan Jones and Jack Conklin coming off some major injuries. This guy could go either way, and I think he's a great fit. What do you think?
I love it. He's everything that we wanted Jed Wills to be, and Jed Wills decided did not want to be. So Ersery is a guy that I know Barry Shuck from Dogs by Nature. We know Barry and loved him, raved about him from the Senior Bowl. So, yeah, I love this pick.
That is exactly where I've heard it from. I could not place who was talking about it, and it was you guys.
This episode is brought to you by Baden Sports. Browns fans, Baden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Baden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Baden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Baden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Baden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Baden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard games section of Baden's website where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Baden Sports, BADEN Sports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BadenSports.com/dogs.
What's up, Browns fans? If you're watching this, you already know me as a host of your favorite Browns podcast, but what you may not know about me is that I'm also a licensed realtor here in the state of Ohio. So if you're local to Tuscarawas County or Stark County, or you just need help finding a trusted agent in your area, shoot me an email at agentblakereniker@gmail.com to see how I can help you reach your real estate goals.
So I want to get back into 2020, I meant to say. We had Nick Chubb, so my Nick Chubb is going to be Jeanty. And now I'm going to get into another guy that we haven't spoken about very much, and this is going to be my Kareem Hunt. Now, he's more like the guy from Virginia Tech that you were talking about. This guy is RJ Harvey. And anytime Daniel Jeremiah from Moving the Sticks says a name and he's passionate about it, he's excited about it, I'm always into that guy and why we should get him. So here's his athletic profile. The guy's 5'8". He's 270 pounds. He's got a 440 in the 40, 38 inch vertical, and he's got a broad jump of 10.7. His RAS score is 8.5 out of 10, which is pretty good. He's tough. He exhibits remarkable resilience and physicality on the field. The biggest thing about him for Stefanski's offense is the low center of gravity combined with robust leg drives, which enables him to power through tackles and gain critical yards after contact. So super tough. Versatility. I mean, this guy was a quarterback at Virginia, and then he is a standout running back at UFC now, showcased his adaptability. He's proficient as both a rusher and a receiver, adds a dual threat dimension to the backfield. He amassed 1,500 yards and 22 touchdowns and combined another 267 receiving yards with 3 touchdowns. So he's multifaceted. Still, I would see this guy more as a third down back for us if we're going to get Jeanty, but you guys are kind of getting that I'm looking for that 2020 mixed offense. Processing and vision is huge. He has exceptional patience and vision, effectively reading blocks and identifying running lanes. And again, guys, like if this sounds a little bit like Jeanty, this guy's got a little bit more wiggle than he does. However, we know that injuries happen in the NFL. And that's why I want someone very similar so the offense doesn't have any setbacks. So in Stefanski and Reese's offense, which incorporates wide zone and play action elements, Running backs with the ability to operate effectively in motion are crucial. Harvey's agility and quick acceleration make him adept to executing outside runs and engaging in pass plays, enhancing the offense's versatility and unpredictability. And again, I got into this with Jeff Bech, the same thing. We need to be unpredictable. 2 years ago in the playoffs, the Houston Texans we were so predictable. They were calling our plays in their huddle, and they were intercepting us for pick sixes. This guy's got a huge passion for the game. He had an ACL injury in 2021, came back, and look at the evidence of what he's done on the field. So overall, man, this guy, combination of toughness, versatility, processing, and passion, he's an ideal candidate for the Cleveland Browns, and I'd love to see him in our uniform.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you said RJ Harvey, I'm thinking, okay, I like RJ Harvey as a prospect. I really do. This class is stacked at running back. There are so many good ones, and he's definitely one of them. This would be a crazy shift from the norm for Andrew Berry to take a running back in the top 10 and then to take a second running back in the top 100 picks, especially a running back. The only thing with RJ Harvey that I fear would pull him off of Andrew Berry's board is he's 24 years old. Yeah. He's an older prospect, but freaking talented, super talented, and he would be a ton of fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like this is like just not even a wish list. It's just, let's be different. Yeah. Let's get some players' names out there. My aim overall was just to get some players out there that we haven't discussed before. And I kind of liken it to that 2020 team and see what we have. Mm-hmm. The next guy that I went to, and I couldn't pass him up, and I'm just going to touch on him because Blake and I have touched on him. You've touched on him. I'm sure Justin has mentioned Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green. I mean, he's close enough. He's from in the state of Ohio. I mean, this guy is undersized but scrappy. He finds spots and zones so he can process information well. Versatility as a H-back, tight end, hybrid. I mean, he's almost the same size as Jeff Bech. And I mean, you could use them in some kind of multifaceted, multi-tight end, flex set or something along that lines. He's a good candidate for special teams. And I think the guy's just a baller, and you got to have a team that can find the right niche for him. And I think Tommy Rees can do that based on what I've read. He'd be a great value for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. With the way they're bringing in these top tight ends for visits and things like that, you can feel the Tommy Rees effect, within this offense saying, hey, look, this was an area of weakness for us the last couple of years. I mean, Jordan Akins was okay, but he is not the tight end two we need in this offense to make it really go. Let's go get a guy. And they're bringing guys in. They're going to find a guy, and they're going to take one in this draft. And Fannin would be a great one. I'd be pumped.
Yeah, and Fannin was a guy, too, that his best stats came against the best competition. I mean, I think the coach must have said, like, hey, we're playing Alabama this week. How many do you think you can catch? You know what I mean? That's the way the offense went for him. But the reason I didn't spend a lot of time on him also is that I wanted to I'm going to get into one more pick, and it's going to be Kurtis Rourke. There's a ton of picks here. We've got a ton of information. My quarterback's going to come late at the 192 pick, and Kurtis Rourke, I'm going to, push my Canadian guys a little bit, number one. So he's a Canadian-born guy. He was a transfer from Ohio University, so those were the Bobcats, correct?
That's correct.
And he went to Indiana. So he's a sneaky good late round pick. It could be a UDFA. I think he'll get drafted based just on his toughness, his intelligence. He is a pro-style passer. He can run the spread, the RPO, play action system type offenses. He offers a strong developmental QB3 value, and he matches what Tommy Rees is looking for as far as a cerebral field reading quarterback. His toughness is off the charts. I mean, the guy came back from a torn ACL in 2022, stands tall in the packet. He's willing to take the hit. Blue collar demeanor, leadership style that would mesh well with the Browns. Mentally, physically tough. He is a grinder and respected by his teammates. Processing. So here's where it is the match for the Browns. smart timing-based processor who excelled in Ohio's RPO-heavy offense, adjusted to the Big Ten and the speed of the Indiana, executes a quick game, layered reads well, though he can dial it, he's a tick late on his full read progressions, but that's why he's in later rounds. So that's what you want to develop. His IQ is good, and he understands the defenses, and that's proved over his years. So he's not natural processor like the early rounders, but he's above average for Dave 3, and he fits what Tommy Rees demands. Versatility, he's got enough functional mobility, kind of like what we say about Shedeur Sanders. He's worked under center and the shotgun, so that's important for a Stefanski-Rees offense. He could be used as a scout team guy too, which you need somebody to lay down the groundwork for every week. And so that'd be great. Vertical. So the verdict on him is a dual threat light. Schematically, bootlegs, play action, timing-based concepts, the sweet spot for Rourke that fits in well with us, operates the best in rhythm and structure. Again, he doesn't freelance like DTR, stay on script. That's what we're looking for. Doesn't have a well arm, but shows touch, timing, and zip. And generally, if you're going to look up for a backup quarterback, that's what they are. All the big arms are generally going to be drafted high and have starting positions. Special teams, I mean, he could be a holder, and that's about it on that. Other than that, I mean, he's a guy that we haven't talked a lot about. I get a lot about Tyler Shuck, and I'm not super impressed with him. I don't think he's a big fit for our offense. The way I see him, he could run a Bruce Arians style offense. But what are your thoughts on that?
I'm definitely not on the Tyler Shuck train at all. I know that he's in that top 5, I guess we would say, of quarterbacks that I would predict the Browns come away with one of them. And I think I've called him the last resort option. You know, in the first round, Cam Moore, Shedeur, Jackson Dart, say those guys all go, and the Browns are unable to get up for Milroe. Those 4 guys somehow get out from under them. I think their last resort trigger pull would be Tyler Shuck. In terms of like a starting caliber, this is what we hope this guy can become type of quarterback for us. But, you know, a guy like Kurtis Rourke, I did do a mock draft maybe like a month ago where I picked him super late, one of my last picks. Maybe it was 192 like you're doing here. And just kind of as that, well, we do need to get a backup in here. There is a good chance the Browns do take 2 quarterbacks in this draft. Andrew Berry said the room is probably going to skew young, which makes me think, you know, they might trade for Kirk Cousins. I don't know how realistic or plausible a Joe Flacco reunion really is, but I could see them doing something like a Kurtis Rourke late. Just try to get that backup position solidified.
Yeah, and again, like he offers accuracy, football IQ, leadership, and the system fit. And I think if you take a look at the quarterbacks, the guys in this draft are going to be Shedeur, Jackson Dart, because Jackson Dart is like just a better version of Kenny Pickett. Maybe Milroe with some alterations. Kurtis Rourke, and who's the guy I'm forgetting? Oh, Kyle McCord. He's the other guy that fits the bill. You know, much to some people's chagrin, right?
Yeah.
I got one last one. Like there's a ton of other picks I can get into, guys. But I have one last one to go over, and it's my kind of bonus prospect. It's one of the first guys that we met with, and his name's Jayden Johnson. He's a safety with Arkansas. He's going to be unrestricted free agent. I don't know if he gets drafted. However, there is a reason why he stands out and why the Browns met with him. I think they met with him at the Hula Bowl. I don't know if the Hula Bowl is called the Tropical Bowl now, but it was one of those early bowl games in the year. He's a senior safety at Arkansas, and he checks nearly every box what the Browns want. So first of all, there's athleticism. I mean, his traits, he's 6'2" as a safety. He's 205 pounds, so he's built like an NFL safety. He's got speed and range to cover the ground in various schemes. Now, that's the only thing I could find with him. I couldn't find a hardcore stats on that or the measurables that they do because he didn't attend the combine. So he's going to be one of these UDFA guys, like I said. Across his career, he had 33 games, so he's got the experience they're looking for. He started 22 of those. He tallied 21 tackles. In 2023, he recorded 62 tackles. He forced a fumble, 4 breakups, and he had an interception. He's versatile because he can play strong safety, slot, and deep coverage roles, so free safety style, and it was in the SEC. He's battle-tested against the top-tier offenses in that conference. And then we were getting into toughness, leadership. He's known for mentoring teammates, so he's got the guys below him. They're going to start this year because he's not going to be there anymore, and he's mentored them. All 4 years in Arkansas, coaches raved about his maturity. So why does he fit the Browns? The safety is basically the safety room behind Grant Delpit needs help. We got this earlier. We got Chris Edmonds. He's unproven. Ronnie Hickman showed flashes. I mean, I was there when he had that pick 6 against the Jets. Anthony Bell is gone. And he offers just better coverage instincts, more athletic upside, and he's a proven against elite competition. So he fits the Browns profile. He's tough. He's smart. He's versatile. And I think this guy's got a great chance to make the team.
You know, I'm glad that you brought up a UDFA prospect to highlight here, because every year we see Andrew Berry go out and they sign a handful of UDFAs as soon as the draft is over. And love or hate Andrew Berry, you guys have got to admit he has got a knack for getting UDFAs in here who come. Not only do they stick like around the practice squad and stuff, they actually stick on the active roster and then contribute. I mean, last year it was Winston Reed, but before that it was Muhammad Dibadi and Ronnie Hickman, and Anthony Bell, and some of these other guys too. Jayden Johnson is a good name to just throw it up in the noggin and just, whenever you hear that name, I think I've heard that before. I'm glad, Kenny. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. There's going to be some guys that are going to make this team, and they're going to be from the UDFA. We just have too many holes. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say it, but I mean, we are kind of in a rebuild. Hopefully it's fast. These things turn around fast. And but there's just way too many holes on this team, and we need as many picks as we can. I think to help out the team and get it back to where it was couple years ago, or even in 2023. I mean, I hope you can see that the picks that were made today could be a foundation for a team that can win and be competitive, at least in every game. Because when you can run the ball, you can convert first downs. When you convert first downs, you're moving down the field, you're getting to the end zone or red zone, and then you're either getting field goals or touchdowns, something we didn't do much of anything last year.
You're giving your defense a chance to recharge. You're giving your defense a freaking break by scoring some points and putting the onus on the other team to come back and try to score. Because when we're not scoring points, when we're putting up 10 points a game, or how many games did we score single digits? It was pathetic last year. Our like points per game average was so misconstrued with, outlier games like the one in Denver, where that just skewed the whole average. And then, times when our defense would score touchdowns. Well, those count for Browns points per game, but it's not our offense scoring those points. It was the defense. Our offense was terrible. And I mean, that just screws over your defense. We saw so many times, like the Chiefs game was a great example. Our defense shut down Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the first half. And it looked like, wow, if we could have any semblance of offense out here, score maybe a couple points, maybe we actually take these guys down and win the game. Well, we lose, of course, because the second half, our defense can't hold the Chiefs for an entire game. Nobody can. And that's why when people say, oh, well, you need to pour into the defense and just make the defense as good as possible, worry about the offense later. It's like the NFL is built for offense. Yes, you need to have a good defense, but at the end of the game, if your offense is only scoring 10 points or less, chances are, no matter how good your defense is, the other team's going to win.
Yeah. It's too many snaps on a part of the team that needs the least amount, to put it lightly, I guess, or, I know it seems obvious, but ultimately you have guys that are on offense that they want to play, and defensive players are not supposed to want to play, even though they want to play. You know what I mean? Like, I played defense in high school as a defensive end on passing downs, I was linebacker on all the other downs. And if our defense, our offense didn't score, they're constantly going 3 and outs, it grinds you down, because you do want to play, but you don't want to play.
Well, you don't want to play the whole game. And I think that's, unless you're Travis Hunter, of course. But, for the majority of people out there, these pro players, I mean, it's taxing on you. And then to go out there and watch your offense, like you said, just go 3 and out. It's like, man, now I got to go back out there. And, Myles Garrett, I'm rushing my ass off against 350-pound offensive linemen. Like, I'm bench pressing these guys rep after rep after rep. They're choke holding me and everything else, throwing me to the ground. And then I come off the sideline, and then offense goes out there, they fumble or throw a pick, and I'm immediately back in the game. It's like, geez, guys, can you just hold the ball for a little bit? It's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for us as fans to watch the game. It's terrible to watch.
Yeah. It just wasn't a good product. And I mean, I think if you're starting 2nd and 6 every single time, you're getting these first downs, you're play action, when it works, the guy drops back and you got a bomb. I mean, like, everybody's standing on their feet. It's exciting, gets the crowd going. We're there to see touchdowns, man. And let's see touchdowns. I think this is a unit that can help this team score some touchdowns.
It's funny, in an era where the NFL is built more than ever for offense, for scoring, for passing, for big plays, for excitement, all these things. Like, that is what the NFL is built for, with the way the rules are and the protections for the quarterback and all that stuff. The Browns still managed to have one of the worst offenses in history, in all of history. Even with all of the things benefiting the offense in today's game, the Browns were still one of the worst ever. It was pathetic.
Yeah, I can't go through it again. That's why I can't see Abdul Carter going 2 overall, man. Forget about it.
No. I mean, and we'll wrap this thing up, but I do think that the Browns have kind of moved on from the Abdul Carter thing. I think it will be Travis Hunter at 2, unless they do a trade back, Kenny. And that's why we did this episode. And I'm glad you put this together. It was a fun exercise to go through and see what this team could look like if the Browns decide to say, hey, let's not worry about the quarterback this year. Let's trade back a couple spots and start building this offense back the way it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Jacoby managed it just fine. The defense blew it that year. And if the defense can be half decent and a half decent offense, it'll be a fun year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you because, as much as, like I said earlier, not the biggest Kenny Pickett fan, though I do believe in Kevin Stefanski to get the most out of quarterbacks. So I do have some optimism in that regard. But you bring in a rookie quarterback here, and it is going to be let's hope and pray that this guy can be the guy, whether it's Shador or Jackson Dart or Milroe or Shuck or one of these guys that the Browns, are projected to take. There's no sure thing ever, but really there's no sure thing this year. So let's get the offense back. We need to get running backs, tight ends, got to continue to build that line. Got to get tough. We got to get physical. Tired of watching weak, pansy-ass football.
Yeah, knock them on their ass.
Yes. All right, well, everybody drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think about this mock draft exercise that Kenny Mack put together for us here today. It was awesome. Just to kind of do a quick recap, he traded the number 2 pick back with the Raiders to get to 6, picked up the 37th pick and Michael Mayer, so he addressed the tight end position while also drafting Ashton Jeanty, the best running back in this draft class and one of the best prospects maybe ever, at number 6. And then you took Xavier Watts in the 2nd round, followed by Jack Bech a few picks later, and then kicked off the 3rd round with Aireontae Ersery, and then ended the 3rd round, I do believe, right, with RJ Harvey. Was that pick 94?
Yep.
And then 104 was Fannin.
Yep.
And then down to 192, you picked Kurtis Rourke, the quarterback out of Indiana, to help just bring in some more bodies for that backup position. Who knows? Maybe can develop into something, whatever, you shoot your shot late like that. But I like this, Ken. Oh, and then you also said Jayden Johnson, UDFA prospect, free safety out of Arkansas. I like it.
Yeah, man. I'm pumped for those players. And obviously there were some picks that we have that I didn't go into, but I only had so much time in the day. And I wanted to concentrate on the offense and what it would look like to get it going.
I like it. So Kenny will be back with us on Draft Night live in studio. That's in 2 weeks on April 24th. We're kicking things off at 7:30 that night. So make sure you guys tune in. We're going to pregame basically from 7:30 to 8 when the draft actually officially kicks off, because the Browns start pretty much, the draft starts with the Browns. We know Tennessee's taking Cam Ward. It would be a total shock if they came out and took Carter or Hunter at 1, and the Browns are saying, oh, okay, cool, I guess we just take Cam Ward. And, revise our strategy here. I'm sure they do have a strategy if that were the scenario that plays out, but very unlikely. So we'll kick off the draft with the Browns, and then the rest of the night is going to be, are the Browns moving up? We got players we're going to be watching on the board that we think, quarterback-wise, the Browns could trade back up for this guy, and if they don't, we have the first pick in the second round at 33. So what guys make it through the first round that will be sitting there at 33 that we want them to take? So it's going to be a fun night, and I'm excited for it. Can't wait to have you in studio.
Yeah, man, I am super pumped. I think this is the third year I've gone down now. Just for us, we just had about 10, 15 centimeters of snow. So I'm ready to get down. I know you guys don't consider it warm there, but it will be warm for me. And I just have a blast hanging out with you guys, and looking forward to hanging out with my guy Moneymaker the next day. And let's go to a Guards game and have a blast down in Cleveland.
We might even have a surprise for everybody on draft night involving Mr. Moneymaker. So you guys definitely want to tune in for that. Could be some Ian Swifty action.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Right on.
So if you guys aren't familiar with that, just get into the Discord, into the Dog Pack community, and you'll understand what Ian Swifty is all about. And that's jointhedogs.com. So we hope to see you guys there, and we hope to see you guys on draft night. And we'll be back next week. Like I said, we'll do an episode from the studio live next week. I think we're doing Tuesday night, so stay tuned for that. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. Browns fans, we talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order, and that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.